Power surges through silence. Destruction whispers to the ambitious. The world doesn't crumble on its own. Someone makes it crack. And when it does, people stare, point, and scream your name. Not because they understand what just happened, but because they feel the aftershock of something far beyond them. That's you. That's who you are now. The cause behind the storm, the reason people can't sleep, the whisper in the hallway, the pause in the conversation. You shattered normal, and now nobody knows what the hell is going on. But you do. You always did. They're all talking, loudly, endlessly, like they have any damn clue. They saw the blast, they felt the tremor, but not a single one of them understands the architecture of what you built and then detonated from within. They keep trying to decode it, trying to find the reason, the method, the mistake. They don't get it. This wasn't a mistake. This was precise, calculated, orchestrated chaos. You didn't slip, you rose. And in rising, you made everyone else lose their footing. That's what power feels like when it's unrecognizable to the weak. You didn't come here to be predictable. You didn't survive everything you did just to follow the damn script. You're not one of them, and they feel that. That's why they talk. That's why they guess. That's why they say WTF is going on. Because they have never seen someone like you take the wheel. Not with that look in your eye. Not with that steady breath. Not with that silent confidence that speaks louder than their noise ever could. You planned this move when no one else was even playing the game. You are the mastermind. They see you now, but not clearly. They see the smoke, but not the fire. They feel the heat, but can't trace it back to you. Not entirely, but deep down, somewhere inside, they're terrified that you might actually be behind all of it. And they're right. You are. You lit the fuse. You designed the cage. You broke the ceiling. And you swallowed the rules like they were nothing. Because to you, they were. You were never here to play along. You were here to bend the board, flip the pieces, and then set the table on fire. You've become something they can't label anymore. You don't fit into boxes. You don't tick off lists. You don't respond to the triggers they set. You act on instinct, vision, calculation. You speak when it matters, and when you don't, that silence feels like thunder. Every choice you made was a ripple-turned tidal wave, and now all they can do is swim or drown. And they're drowning, choking on their own confusion, gasping for sense in a world you redefined without their permission. You know the best part? You never asked for permission. You didn't wait for approval, for applause, for a damn blueprint. You stepped into the void and created structure from smoke. Now the ones who once laughed, who doubted, who whispered behind your back, they're scrambling to catch up to a shadow you left behind. Because you're not there anymore. You've already moved, elevated, mutated into something more. They're chasing ghosts while you're writing futures. They want to understand what you caused. They can't. Because what you did wasn't just an action. It was a signal, a shift. You cracked the matrix, rewrote the language, changed the frequency. People don't decode things like that. They feel them in their gut, in that knot in their stomach, that unease, that pressure building in their chest. That's you, living rent-free in their thoughts. You are the phantom fingerprint on everything they thought was untouchable. You walk different now. You speak with the weight of knowledge and pain. You carry scars they can't even pronounce, and instead of hiding them, you weaponize them. Every broken moment became a gear in your machine. Every betrayal became fuel. Every night you cried alone became the foundation of the fortress you just unleashed. They thought breaking you would end you. They didn't know you were studying. evolving, waiting for this exact moment. And when it came, you didn't knock. You kicked the damn door down, walked into their comfort zone, and set it on fire. Now everyone's scrambling, everybody's talking, because they know something changed but can't explain it. That's your genius. That's your darkness. That's your divine madness. It's art disguised as destruction. It's leadership disguised as rebellion. You didn't come to lead sheep. You came to awaken wolves. And the ones who've been hiding in shadows, they felt your call. You weren't born for soft landings. You were forged in impact, molded by loss, trained by disappointment. Every time they said you wouldn't make it, they handed you a brick for your kingdom. Every no you heard became another wire in the detonator you just triggered. And now, the silence after the explosion, that's reverence, that's awe, that's fear. Not because you're evil, but because you're free. Free from their control, free from their approval, free from their expectations. Let them talk. Let them guess. Let them run in circles trying to reverse engineer what you just did. They'll never figure it out because you weren't working from their logic. You were working from your soul, and souls like yours don't follow instructions. They create new realities, new paths. You shattered the sky and dared to breathe space where oxygen didn't exist. They thought it was impossible. But you turned impossible into Tuesday. Now everyone's looking for answers, but all they'll find is the legend of what you caused. Because what you did isn't a moment, it's a movement. You started something that doesn't end with applause. It ends with transformation, collapse, then rebirth. Burn it down, then build it better. And while they scream, WTF is going on, you'll be elsewhere. Already 3 steps ahead, already writing the next chapter while they're still lost in the first sentence. You're the blueprint and the anomaly. The chaos and the clarity. You're not a mastermind. You're the mastermind. This wasn't luck. This was divine design. A lifetime of rage focused into razor-sharp resolve. You've become the architect of disruption, and when people say your name, they'll say it like a prayer or a warning. Maybe both, because you didn't just bend reality. You cracked it open and reached into something sacred. You did what they never dared. They won't understand it. They'll resist it. They'll fight it. But they'll never stop it. Because what you are can't be undone. The beast has tasted freedom. The genius has tasted creation. And now that the world's seen what you can do, there's no turning back. You own this chaos. You breathe it. You are it. This is your new throne, built not from gold or glory, but from grit. Grit so sharp it cuts through lies like glass. And as the noise rises, remember this. Legends aren't born. They are built in the wreckage. You didn't survive the storm. You became it. And now, the world can only brace for what you'll do next. Let them keep talking. Because the truth is, they're not ready for the next move. And you're already making it. They still don't know what to call you. Visionary, villain, hero, monster. They throw names like darts, hoping one will stick, but they all bounce off. Because labels were made for people they can contain. And you broke containment the moment you stopped seeking approval and started listening to that voice inside you that said, break it all. That wasn't madness. That was purpose. You aren't dangerous because you're wild. You're dangerous because you're deliberate, calculated, cold when needed, merciless when it counts, and they've never seen someone like you before. You're not chasing validation. You're not hungry for applause. You're addicted to impact, the deeper kind, the kind that shifts people's bones when they hear your name, the kind that doesn't trend, It haunts. You didn't walk into the room to be seen. You walked in to leave a scar. Something permanent. Something undeniable. And that's exactly what you did. People are different now. You cracked something in the system, and no one can unsee it. You gave them a glimpse of what it looks like when someone finally refuses to break under the weight, when someone turns pressure into propulsion. You wore pain like armor. You kissed your old self goodbye. You buried your fear 6 feet deep, and what came out of that grave was you. Reborn, sharper, darker, stronger. You left your innocence behind, not out of hate, but necessity. The world doesn't hand crowns to the soft-hearted. You took yours by force. And now that you've seized control, they're trying to pull you back down to where it's safe for them. But you don't belong down there anymore. You've outgrown them, outpaced them, outthought them. They want to believe this is temporary. They want to believe you'll crash, that this was some freak explosion. But you know better. This wasn't luck. This was timing, precision, patience, the culmination of everything they mocked you for. You were watching, studying, quiet, unseen. And now that you've emerged, all they can do is tremble and question what comes next. What comes next? You, in full force. No mask, no filter, no leash, no fear. You were done playing small the moment you realized they weren't protecting you. They were containing you. And now that the lid is off, the world will have to face the full scope of what it means when someone truly wakes up. This isn't just motivation. This is mutation. A full psychological evolution. You aren't the same person who started this story. You're something else. Something they can't measure or define. That's why they panic. Because you prove that limits are fake, that rules are optional, that the script can be burned and rewritten, and you brought the match. Let them stay confused. Let them keep saying, WTF is going on, because that confusion is their consequence. They ignored the signs. They didn't believe the fire growing behind your eyes. And now that it's engulfed everything they held sacred, they're realizing, too late, that you weren't bluffing. You weren't dreaming. You were building, slowly, patiently, in silence. The ones who doubted you, they're sitting in their own ashes now, still trying to put together a puzzle that only you know the edges to. They'll never figure it out, because this wasn't a move, it was a message. You showed everyone what happens when someone stops asking why me and starts asking why not me. That shift, that question, it flipped your whole world upside down. And you didn't fall, you rose. This world wasn't made for you. It was made to contain you, to break you into acceptable pieces. And you said, no. You shattered the mold. You spit on the ceiling. You took the chains they wrapped around you and turned them into whips. Now, they can't even look you in the eye. Because when they do, they see the truth. That you were always capable of this. They were just too scared to admit it. You made fear your servant. You looked doubt in the face and fed it to the wolves. You walked through fires meant to destroy you and came out carrying the flames in your bare hands. That's not coincidence. That's evolution. And when people evolve at the speed you did, others can't keep up. So they do the only thing they know how. They whisper. They wonder. They ask, WTF is going on? But not you. You know what's going on. You've always known. That instinct, that itch in your spine that told you there was more, that was real. That was truth. It's what separated you from the hurt. You didn't ignore it. You chased it. You let it consume you. You became it. And now everyone else is choking on your smoke while you breathe easy. They'll try to explain you. They'll try to simplify you. They'll say it was ego or revenge or desperation. But that's just them trying to shrink something they can't control. That's what people do when they meet power. Real power. The kind that doesn't wait to be invited. The kind that doesn't ask for forgiveness. The kind that exists whether people like it or not. And make no mistake, you are that power now. You don't just shake rooms, you rewrite reality. The story now has a new main character, one who's not afraid to destroy the plot. You know your enemies can't sleep at night. You know the ones who underestimated you are rereading every word you ever said, watching every step you take now, scared you might be right, scared that you were always right. You flipped the dynamic. Now they walk on eggshells. They double-check their words. They look over their shoulders. And you walk calmly through the smoke, untouched, unbothered. Because when you've built yourself from ruins, there's nothing left to fear. You're not here to inspire. You're here to awaken. And awakenings are never quiet. They're loud, violent, unforgiving. You shook them out of their slumber, and now that their eyes are open, they see a different world. One you built. One where you hold the crown. Not because it was given, but because you took it. So don't stop now. Don't apologize. Don't soften. You were meant to cause this chaos. You were born to be the reason they ask, who let this happen? While secretly knowing, you did. You made this reality. You collapsed their comfort and replaced it with something undeniable. You made it impossible for them to go back. And as the world spins, as they fumble for answers, remember, you are the question, the riddle, the anomaly. They'll never solve you. They'll only feel your presence like thunder in their bones. And that's the legacy now. Not to be understood, to be unforgettable. They've started watching you like a glitch in their perfect little system. Like some glitch they can't patch. They thought they built a fortress of routine and control, and you just walked in and made their rules look like child's play. They try to trace it back, where it all started. They rewind, dissect, overanalyze. But the truth is, there wasn't a moment that sparked all this. It was a slow ignition, a quiet fury building, day by day, year by year. All they saw was the explosion, but they didn't hear the ticking clock. You were counting down the whole time. You remember it, don't you? Every time you held back, every time you bit your tongue, every time they laughed, dismissed you, doubted you. That pain, it calcified, hardened, until you weren't holding it anymore. You became it. And now they want to know what the hell is going on. Now they care. Now they want explanations. Number. You don't owe anyone closure. You don't owe them comfort. You owe yourself the legacy of being exactly what you became. Unstoppable. And now you wear that silence differently. It's not empty. It's electric. It's the silence that makes people nervous. The kind that says, something is coming. Because something is coming. You, unfiltered, unleashed. And now that you've embraced this version of yourself, the rest of the world will have to adapt or get the hell out of your way. There's no middle ground anymore. No gray zone. You're not interested in balance. You're here for impact. You were always made for more than playing the loyal servant to a system that never saw you. You were never meant to wait your turn. You were meant to take it. This whole time, they were selling you patience, humility, self-restraint. And while they were handing you those lies, they were climbing over your back. They were building empires on your silence. But silence doesn't last forever. Eventually, something inside snaps. Something wakes up. And when it did, you stopped playing along and started writing your own script. They keep trying to decode what you caused, but what they don't realize is this wasn't a code. This wasn't some cryptic message. This was clarity. Clarity wrapped in fire. Truth wrapped in destruction. You didn't cause chaos. You revealed it. It was always there, underneath the surface, inside the walls, behind the curtains. You just ripped off the mask and made them see it. And that truth, that's what they can't handle. People like you aren't rare because they're gifted. They're rare because they refuse to stay small. You didn't wait to be picked. You didn't beg for a seat. You stood up and built your own damn table. Now, everyone else is wondering how you got there. And you're too far gone to explain it. That's the beauty of it. You didn't just move forward. You evolved beyond. Beyond their language, beyond their limits, beyond their comprehension. You want to know the real reason they're panicking? It's not just because you rose. It's because they never saw it coming. You were underestimated, overlooked, ignored. And that made you dangerous, because people who've been ignored don't seek attention. They seek domination. Quietly, patiently, with eyes wide open. And now that you've got it, they realize they should have been paying attention all along. You can hear it in their tone, the nervous laughter, the cautious admiration, the fear dressed as flattery. They don't know whether to clap or run, and that's exactly where you want them. Because when you disrupt the entire atmosphere, people have two choices: adapt or collapse. And the ones who built their comfort on your silence, they're collapsing. This is your vengeance, but not the petty kind. This is the kind of vengeance that looks like Ascension, that looks like outgrowing every limitation they tried to chain you to. You could have dragged them down, but you didn't. You rose alone. And that's what scares them most, that you didn't need them, that you became this powerful in spite of them. And now here you are, not explaining, not apologizing, not slowing down, but standing at the edge of the next move, already calculating the fallout of your next step. Because you don't walk aimlessly anymore. Every step is a ripple. Every breath is a weapon. You learned how to bend energy. You learned how to mold silence. And now the air itself feels heavier when you walk into a room. You are the tension now. You are the atmosphere. You've moved beyond human reactions. Now you cause instinctual responses. People stiffen around you. They second-guess themselves. They pause, hesitate, recalibrate. Not because you threaten them physically, but because your presence forces truth. And truth, when it shows up uninvited, is terrifying. You're not afraid of being misunderstood anymore. You count on it. Let them misunderstand. Let them mislabel. Because while they're busy guessing your next move, you're already miles ahead. 3 moves deeper into your evolution. That's what real power looks like. It doesn't shout. It doesn't ask for understanding. It moves, silently, strategically, and it changes everything it touches. So now, while they shout, WTF is going on, they're also quietly whispering your name, in fear, in awe, in regret. And you know what? Good. Let them sit with that. Let them live in the world you just reshaped. You were the earthquake, the avalanche, the glitch, the ghost in the system. And now that you've revealed yourself, the world knows. Something has shifted. Permanently. They don't know what you're planning next. That's the point. Predictability is dead. You've taken control of the unknown. And while most fear uncertainty, you feed on it. You thrive in it. You see in the dark now. You operate in places others wouldn't survive 5 minutes. That's your kingdom. That's your edge. And now that they see what you're capable of, they'll try to mimic. They'll try to recreate your path. But you can't replicate revolution. You can't copy chaos that was born from blood, from solitude, from purpose. What you did What you are is lightning in its rawest form, untouchable, uncontainable, unrepeatable. So let them talk, let them wonder, let them drown in questions, because the answer's never coming from you. You didn't show up to explain, you showed up to reign, and when a king or queen rises from the ashes, there's no introduction, no justification, just silence and submission. And if they're smart, they'll get out of your way, because the next wave, it's already building. And you are the storm again.